begging the master, give me a walk with Peter. If I come sinners coming, with them I go be dealing. Because the things that they do me, I want to fix them personally. Peter wait, Peter look Cecil Rhodes by the gate. Peter look the Englishman, we send Cecil Rhodes to Africa land. Peter take Drake, take Rowley, but leave Victoria for me. Peter, I just don't care what you say, but Mussolini, he can't get away. Why?
This is my time for funding.
I'm burning and I'm burning and I'm burning and I'm burning.
Fire blazing.
Blazing, 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 blazing.
This is your time for funding.
I'm burning and I'm burning and I'm burning and I'm burning.
Fire coming.
Peter, you don't know the pressure that I undergo from these madman and woman. I feel the full weight of the hand. They need the oppress law. They never care about the poor. Peter, these people had a day. Well, now it's time for Stalin to play. Peter, wait, I say Peter, wait. Peter, look, Ian Smith by the gate. Peter, I don't want you to make fuss. Remember, I want Christopher Columbus. Peter, look, the English woman who in South Africa refused to put sanctions. Peter, I just don't care what you do, but Reagan going in the fire too. Why?
This is my time for funding. Fire blazing.
Blazing, blazing, blazing.
This is your time for funding.
Burning and we burning and we burning and we burning.
Fire coming.
Let me now.
Good night. So we get any program on YouTube. So on YouTube is corridor transformation. Okay, all right, yeah. All right, yeah. All right.
Tell them wicked people, fire go burn them, fire go burn them. Oh, Lord, I said this is the year for love. Fire go burn them, fire go burn them. Oh, say little boy, you ain't bad at all. No, another one just gone. Boy, you beat your chest and smile.
Yesterday, of course, I present the night to all and sundry. I was now, of course, I wasn't speaking to myself, no. But I'm so elated. I'm so enthused. I'm so confident that we will have a bumper program tonight in spite of the previous challenges. But of course, that's part of the course. Let me just make certain that everything is up and running. Yes, indeed. I want to make certain, of course, that you get every syllable, that you get every statement, that you get every phrase, every paragraph, every word. You would have gotten, of course, plainly and lucidly. Yes. But Fire will burn them. Yes, indeed. I better show some of that fire that is destined to burn Rowley and, of course, his entire cabinet, colleagues, and the PNM as an institution. Yes, indeed.
We don't need no more now. I said we don't want no more now. Aye, bad man don't go wrong raping woman, influencing young ones to kill a boy now. He ain't no bad man boy now.
Yes, we are back. We are back.
A real bad man works so whatever he wants, and he don't need no gun. He full of joy now. That is a bad man soldier. He ain't no bad man. So sit down, rock back. Tell them I don't need no strap to defend my people. I'm wicked and evil. Whoa. So sit down, rock back. Big man look for a walk. You're too damn evil. If they distress my people, then fire go burn them. Fire go burn them. Whoa. Oh Lord, I said this is the year for love. Fire go burn them. Fire go burn them. Whoa. Say little boy, you ain't bad at all. Tell me what they're fighting for. What they killing for. We don't need no war now. So tell me what they're fighting for. What they killing for. We don't need no war now.
Yes, indeed. Of course, pleasant good night to all and sundry, East, West, North, South, Central, our friends in Tobago, and wherever you are streaming on the World Wide Web. Pleasant good day to you. Yes, as per usual, I have to multitask, but that is a par for the course, so to speak, feature here as we try, of course, to bring these nightly programs with, of course, a better video. I trust that you are getting that, a better video. I'm seeing it, of course, right now. Yes, indeed. So, better video. And, of course, we sort of spruce up the background as well. And I want to say, of course, welcome to the first in the many and very, very, very important hot 2024 for the Rowley administration, and indeed the highlighting of its iniquities, its evil, its deserving of condemnation, and the manifold iniquities that it would have perpetrated on the people of Trinidad and Tobago. I'm talking about the Rowley administration, of course. And I say to you that this moment is one that I cherished personally. There will be, of course, one or two little hiccups that we will have to iron out. But, of course, rest assured that we are going to address these issues frontally and make certain that we get to the quality that we want. I want to say to you up front that to get to the corridor transformation right now, we have not yet gotten around because we have to pull down some information and store it for posterity. So it is not a simple case of pulling down the live that has been hacked. I'm talking about the page on Facebook. That's one. Two, that there is a need to understand that on Facebook, you need to go to, of course, Love Lavantil, Love. And if that doesn't take you there every night, then, of course, you put in Lavantil, and that should assist you. I'll put it up in due course. And in the case of YouTube, well, of course, you simply type in corridor transformation, as I have done right now, and I'm seeing it, of course, up and running at this point in time. So those are the exercises that you must be engaged in at this point in time. I'm seeing it now on Facebook. I'm seeing it now on Facebook, and I'm going to YouTube now to get an appreciation as to what is happening there. But I can tell you it's very exciting for me and very telling in general because it's going to be a hot long, hopefully, for us, because we are forbearers and because we can withstand the pressure and we can, of course, look forward to a better day, a better society, a better Trinidad and Tobago, a better community, a better family, a better educational and, of course, employment opportunities, that it is worthy of the patience and of the waiting, because we need to understand and to make those who have the responsibility to better our lives, make them understand that this is not a one-day wonder. It is not a 7 days wonder. It is a demand placed on. It is worthy of the patience and of the waiting, because we need to understand and to make those who have the responsibility to better our lives, make them understand that this is not a one-day wonder. It is not a 7 days wonder. It is a demand placed on. You might have seen me pause just now, but I'm looking at the quality of the video once again, and I'm not getting what we got in the test. I wonder what is going on here. What is going on here? I'm simply baffled. That ought not to occur. You might have seen me pause just now, but I'm looking at the quality of the video once again, and I'm not getting what we got in the test. I wonder what is going on here. The lines are open immediately, so if you can call me and let me know if the video quality has improved, because we saw it in the test, and I am very, very, very disappointed and baffled, because the test showed that there was a tremendous improvement in the video, the quality. We haven't gotten an upgraded, of course, internet connection. So I would love to hear what you have to say. Yes, so let me just go to the lines. Pleasant good night. Pleasant good night. Tell me. Pleasant good night. Tell me.
Right, well, pleasant good night to you, Lennox Smith.
Yes,
and
tell me.
everybody. Pleasant good night. Right, well, about 5 minutes ago, you was getting a lot of blur on your video. But since you started to say you're checking the quality of the video and stuff, well, from my end, you're looking much better now.
All right, okay,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. Right, you're looking much better now.
Yes, because we're
Right.
supposed to have an improvement. I mean, we spent a lot of money in making that happen, and if I have to spend more, I'll have to do it. But we must have the quality that we're looking for. But go ahead.
I feel it could be probably some minor adjustment you have to make, because you will see that about a few seconds ago, it had to show a look and a blurry, and then it clear up there again. So I feel you got to probably call in cough and see if there's any little minor adjustment you got to do on your end. But right now you're looking good. You're looking good right now.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Any comment you want to make at a recent time?
Nah.
We haven't had an opportunity to speak.
I had to call somebody to see they could able to call on the program tonight. The young lady who I tell you about, I know she listening.
Okay, good.
So I'm going to call she and see if she available to come in on your live tonight.
All right, good. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. All right. Thanks for
All
that update. And of course, those of you who would regularly call in, or not so regular, but of course you are concerned about the quality, please let me know, because we would have spent some time, we would have suspended the program, and we, in spite of the fact that we got hacked, and to have anticlimax, so to speak, I began to feel a bit, should I say, timid. Yeah, frightened that what we said and what we expected have not eventually materialized, and what could be the problem now. But I too am seeing, of course, an improvement. I'm looking at the other screen. Yes, we have another screen that I can monitor what is happening. But that is why I was able to say earlier about the blurring. But that being as it may, let us get on, of course, to some business. I want to tell you that as far as the Empowerment Resource Center is concerned, well, only last week we were able, of course, to sign a lease agreement. Yes, not just a memorandum of understanding, a lease agreement with, of course, the youths of Duncan, Nelson, and George Streets, for giving them a portion of the ground floor of the building that we are in on George Street to engage in any business with, of course, approval from us, the owners of the building, the particular business that they want to go into. And for example, they came to me and telling me that, of course, they wanted to do something of a casino. I said, no, that is not what this is all about. However, I signed the agreement simply because they said that they want to do a wholesale business. And I know that that is a very valid business on the one hand, and it has, of course, a demand on the other hand, and therefore the potential for being viable, being profitable is real. And it also demonstrates to me that they are thinking, because you see, I had to sign that lease prematurely. You see, the arrangement was that the organizations to which I am attached and that came together to produce this Empowerment Resource Center initiative, the Mobile Laventil Improvement Organization, which is a school in its own right, registered, as well as, of course, the owners of the building, the Laventil for Laventilians, and outreach, mainly youth developmental project or initiative. And then we also have the Shouter Baptist Learning Institute, another entity coming together, recognizing the problems in the community, and decide to do something about it palpably, tangibly, and preferably. And we will, of course, not leave any stone unturned to have it sustainable. What are the objectives of this not memorandum, but lease that was signed? Well, as I was saying, they were a bit what I consider to be anxious to get this thing cracking, because I told them that the entity that to which I belong, and which of course would have given them the opportunity, will provide all of the capital. We already of course have the place to operate from, but the capital is important. And then we will assist with the management and the day-to-day operations of the business, so that checks and balances, accounting, bank accounts, and all of the other administrative imperatives or necessities that is concomitant with a business, they recognize as important. It's not a matter of selling something and putting it in your pocket. It is not a matter of buying something and not recording it. And so what has happened, I only had a meeting yesterday with, of course, Dada, the young man from the area that was sent to India to, of course, study entrepreneurship. His skills are now being not just demanded, but is being deployed in this effort for sustainable human development initiative. Yes, I'm seeing the quality waning. I'm seeing the quality waning. That ought not to be. Yes, I'm seeing it now. I'm extremely concerned. I don't know what next has to be done. Is it that we have to have greater bandwidth? I don't know. But look at there, I'm seeing it. So something is wrong. It could be, of course, the card that we have may be out of date now. We have to look at that as well, because I know that the internet is working nicely. And we thought it was the internet. Yes, I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it. I'm very, very, very disturbed. Cannot overemphasize how disturbed I am. Thought we would have solved that problem. Because the test went superb, with no flaws. So there's something more in the mortar than the pestle. So we will look at that. We will look at that. If I had to get a whole new computer altogether, I will do it. Because this year, 2024, is too crucial for us to be stuttering and not to being as visual as we would like, or visible as we would like. But having said that, the intention was for us to find the capital, having gotten, of course, the facility, and so hand it over to them with a certain, of course, parameters, conditions, and conditionalities. But they have been so motivated that I thought I should, of course, provide them with their wish, because they said that they have, I've not seen the individual or individuals, but they have people who are prepared, of course, to fund their project if they should get the building or have the building. So I've given them that. I understand they went to their lawyers, etc., and they are now making preparations. I don't know how far they reach. Of course, by the end of this week, I will know what is happening. Again, people, I'm concerned about the quality of the video that I'm seeing coming across on the other screen. Let's go straight to the lines. Extremely concerned. Let's go straight to the lines. A pleasant good night. Pleasant good night. Pleasant good night.
Yes, hello, good night, Lennox.
Good night to you.
I was about to tell you the thing looking nice. Now it changed back.
Yes, I do
I
understand
can't
that.
understand. Lennox, you
Yeah.
think it's sabotage, boy? I don't know much about them technology thing, you know.
Well, but I learn it quickly.
Yeah.
I learn it quickly. Well, I see now on Facebook, it's back, it's clear, and then now I see it back clear now on YouTube. But
Yes,
go
I
ahead.
watching you on YouTube.
Yeah, make your
Well, Lennox,
contribution.
there's so much to say because, you know, I wasn't, well, it wasn't on, and I had to say welcome back.
Yes,
It's
yes,
nice
yes.
to have you back.
Yes, yes.
I'm sorry to hear what happened to you yesterday, but that
No,
was
of
a
course,
brilliant idea with that soaking of the towels to out down this flame and all of
yeah,
that.
boy. Otherwise, I lost my car. I lost my car.
Hey,
And the mechanic was inside. I was telling him he's a walking dead, because he stayed inside of the car with all that gasoline, a full tank of gasoline, on fire, and looking to out this thing with the upholstery part, the upholstered part of the back seat. All what transpired there is that it got more inflamed and was it was engulfing the whole inside of the car. And then, of course, the little bit of water that I was able to get and soaking, of course, the presence of those towels that did the trick, but it was really miracle. But go ahead,
Yes,
my
that
friend.
was so brilliant.
Yes, yes.
I want to say,
Yes.
I find too a lot of catch fire. Yeah, that's strange too.
Yeah,
The gas,
but what gas pump inside with the liquid, you know. I didn't know that.
oh,
So, you know,
oh,
yeah, so that's invention for a person wanting to do repairs. And he discovered yesterday that what he should have done is test it with water. And that's
okay. Well, I noticed the light was enough. I don't know if it's on my end,
nah,
but everything.
monitor it for me, please. If we answer,
Yes.
we have to prove. All right? Yes. Go ahead.
Well, I want to say something about this fighting in the UNC.
Yes, go
I
ahead.
listened to the ground report program
Yeah.
with the interview with that young man that
Rashish, the lawyer?
this man right.
Yeah, you lawyer, yes.
Well, you have to remember I told you all about 2 years ago that it will have a certain nastiness going on with the PM. Right?
Yes.
Where they will want to bust up the UNC.
Yes,
But
you did.
as others always say, the UNC sleepy. That is what I just say. And I find if they hear people saying something, pay attention and know how to deal with certain things. All this fighting, they didn't have to bring it out in the open, right? So on top of all this wickedness, this they're paying off people to cross the floor and to bust up the party. They should have been on the alert and avoid these kind of things that going on now, But
Yeah.
this little voice crying in the wilderness, they get plenty bash. People say are talking stupidness. But I know the PNM cannot afford to win and they will do anything. They will mash them up by whatever means because of the secrets they have with the brotherhood. That's how I had to talk now. It's deep secrets. These are things I was saying before. And they can't afford to lose. So the UNC, they have to know how to bat with these people. Another thing too, I'm listening because I can't talk on that program no more. And they tell nothing to me. I could move on. I rest that like God rest the dead. I could move on.
I hear you.
So I was listening, and I listened to this man from Arima, how he well talk on the program, and he had everybody under manners because nobody on the program, right, and the callers could have figured out and handle what he was saying concerning the regime next door with the candidate that they have there, the candidate who's supposed to go up against Nicholas Maduro,
All right.
where they don't want her to go up for election. People must remember that is an illegal government. They're illegal, right? There's a legitimate government. He was never put into power by election, When Jarvis was in power, he said that he will be his successor, and he went into power when Jarvis passed. And after that, he used to rig the elections and imprison a lot of politicians, and that's his style. So what we the citizens have to do, because we now see that whatever goes on there will affect us here due to the dragon gas. And when I say that whatever happened there will affect us here, it had a imp always saying that we don't have anything to do with them, and how come I just be talking all these things, and what I say is irrelevant, well, we now feel it now.
Yeah.
You see, when you don't mind your business, These things that's happened, and now it's too late. We get robbed with money. All the time I've been saying he does be paying them way in advance. The Spanish man robbing me with money all the time. So we the citizens have to say we don't want no drag and gas deal. We wash we hand from that. Because right through is money spending. Now he paying lobbying, and because he cannot talk to the Americans again. None of them carry come here to be talking to them Americans again because they put them in the place for that. So you had to pay a lot of money to have lobbyists to talk to see if they could get deal done. Our country going through because of this man and his foolishness where he gone and get into all kind of deal with them. It's not only drag and gas, it's more deal, right? And I know he have a decision to make concerning oil and gas with this war going on in Iran because the next man partner in trouble are talking about Abraham Raisi. I'm waiting till the abscess bus are watching. Okay, Lennox.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much for that insightful. I have to say you are maybe the predictor. You are the. I know Manning has made it derogatory term, but I want to say the prophetess, because of course you did say that the UNC will be in turmoil, and of course it will be externally engendered. And of course, the external factor would be that of the PNM simply because they believe, well, they know they cannot afford to lose these elections. And the unaffordability, if you want to call it that, is based on the fact that they have done so much wrong that they know it will be very easy for any succeeding government to take them via blue lights and silver bracelets to the criminal courts and the civil courts. That is the only reason. They will continue to pretend they're talking about the PNM and the Dr. Rowley and that everything is honky-dory. But they will connive, they will undermine, they will deceive, they will break down, they will orchestrate, they will concoct, they will abuse, they will engage in criminal behavior. You know, they will engage or continue to engage in criminal behavior more desperately. And the only reason why they will not and cannot postpone elections is because that option will be catastrophic for them. Catastrophic. Not that Rowley would not have preferred not having an election. It's not that at all. Because of what the outcome, having been defeated, will result. He would love to postpone the elections, find a way to postpone the election, but no. His misdeeds and his evil will be finally manifest itself. And people will know, are talking about those that matters. CARICOM, the region, the Americans, and of course, all democratic and right-thinking populations across the globe, including institutions that are considered to be promoting the advancement of humankind. The video is getting, I'm becoming very, very concerned. Let me see if I can make some adjustments. Maybe I'm putting too much pressure on the system itself, on the Let me see if I can change the background because I have several things operating in the background. I don't know if that has created some problems, but I'm getting that technical problem that we thought was behind us at this point in time. But we are unable, of course. I cannot adjust it. I would want, of course, to pause at this time. I simply do not like what I'm seeing. This ought not to be. I'll try to get back on a little later, but let me pause here and to say that those who are attempting, of course, to undermine us will not succeed. Will not succeed at one iota. Because fire.
Silly boy, you ain't bad at all. No, another one just gone. Boy, you beat your chest and smile. Say you's a madman. Another young boy fall. Your soul can rest at night. Oh, you's a bad man. Bad man is a man who just defend woman and protect the young ones. But
feel the bad.
You ain't no bad man, boy. Now.
Yes. My
begging the master, give me a walk with Peter. If some sinners coming, with them I go be dealing. Because the things that they do me, I want to fix them personally. Peter wait, Peter look Cecil Rhodes by the gate. Peter look the Englishman, we send Cecil Rhodes to Africa land. Peter take trip, take Rowley, but leave Victoria for me. Peter, I just don't care what you say, but Mussolini, he can't get away. Why?
This is my time for Monday.
I'm burning and I'm burning and I'm burning and I'm burning.
Fire blazing.
Blazing.
This is your time for Monday.
I'm burning and I'm burning and I'm burning and I'm burning.
Fire coming.
Yes, indeed. We shall not give up. Giving up is not an option. We will persevere in spite of the attempts to sabotage, in spite of the attempts by those who are doing these iniquities to the population. They must know that the children will know, that the middle age will know, that the senior citizens will know, that the leaders in industry will know, that those in sports will know, that those in the educational system will know, that the regional leaders will know, that the hemispheric leaders will know, that world leaders will know. We will not relent, we shall not relent, and we will not for any circumstance or any reason relent. They could try to sabotage us as much as they can. They could try to deceive us as much as they can. But that is only wishful thinking. We will not surrender. We cannot afford to surrender. Trinidad and Tobago is poised and is too important, and the population is too committed to a democracy, a quality of life and standard of living that it's capable of achieving with the resources that we would have had. Let's say before a group of individuals led by Dr. Rowley and the PNM that are savage in terms of their criminal behavior and their attempts to deprive us and trying to tell us that that's the best that Trinidad and Tobago can deliver at this time. They haven't, of course, begged us to be where they are. And then they betrayed us, perfidious and evil. I want to say to you, relenting and, of course, giving up is not an option for Trinidad and Tobago. And we will, at any cost and at every cost, continue our relentless, zealous, and zeal to get rid of that man at the helm of our affairs called Rowley, a total criminal, a rapist and a pedophile, leading a moribund organization that believes it can, of course, ad nauseum, keep in our faces and want us to believe that somehow they are credible. I say that they are dishonorable. They are hollow. They are evil. They are wicked. They are diabolical. They are Luciferious and must be gotten rid of. And we must intensify our call and our action.
Blazing, blazing. Burning and we burning. Take me now. Judgment morning, I by the gate and I waiting, because I begging the master, give me our quick Peter. If I come sinners coming, with them I go be dealing, because the things that they do me, I want to fix them personally. Peter wait, Peter look Cecil Rhodes by the gate. Peter look the Englishman, we send Cecil Rhodes to Africa land.
Yes, indeed, by the hook and the crook. The PNM and Rowley must and have to go. We want to live a better life. They mustn't give us thorns. They mustn't give us acid. They mustn't give us Epsom salts and tell us that that is sweet nectar. And all we are doing as a consequence are getting a diarrhea of deficiency, a diarrhea of evil, a diarrhea of incompetence, a diarrhea of naked lies, deception, and of course, the government itself is in fact and has demonstrated that it is not only a kleptocracy, but it is also an idiocracy. It's also an idiocracy. And this is why they must be placed in the political cemetery.
It's not for people like you and me. It is for all them politicians. And I dig in their grave, no fuck with me hand. I find some of them, they living too long. And every 5 years is the same old song. Some of them dead, just shame to lie down. So I prepare them a burial ground. Rowley, my first grave for he, with joy in my heart, put him down with glee. All of them useless politician, only making up numbers in my island. Alrari, I refuse body, I leave them Muslim, them to deal with he. Big smile on my face and with maybe a hand, it's time to move trash from out of this land.
Are you aware? The latest phantasmagorical story on the question of crime was delivered by none other than the manic depressive psychotic or psychotic victim called Keith Christopher Rowley. Manic depressive psychosis is totally at variance with reality when he told us that if he did not engage CARICOM and did not tell us about getting the Baptists to assist, and of course before that, as the Commissioner of Police follow suit to invoke some spiritual and heavenly intervention, or indeed before that, tell us that it is the parents that are responsible and should now be engaged in the solution. And before that, he told us that he has given up. Every Monday morning is some murder. The newspapers are replete with murders. Somebody killed somebody. And before that, of course, telling us all kinds of cock and bull story about women. Let's go straight to the lines. Pleasant good night, welcome. Pleasant good night, welcome.
Sorry, Lennox, I'm probably on your here right now. Sorry, there is the same person who give you the advice now.
All right, okay then, all right. Yes. So after 10 o'clock. Yes, no problem. Yes, indeed. We must collectively and individually resolve to getting rid, to annihilating, to expel, to jettison, to eradicate, to destroy this political a group of vipers that have captured and weaponized government against the people. And we must not lose sight of the fact that we put them there and we will get rid of them. They don't see that. They want to abuse us psychologically, physically, materially, financially, with the greatest degree of obscenity never contemplated and never before any country in the Western Hemisphere, and of course have a respect for democracy, has been so subjected. You see this, of course, in places where dictators have overwhelmed, such as Venezuela, such as Russia, such as North Korea. But let's go straight to the lines. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Lennox, good night and welcome back.
Yes, indeed. Thank you very much.
Lennox, you know how long we have been waiting for this. Every night we check it. Lennox, let me tell you something, eh? They tried hard. They tried hard to sully you.
Yes.
Get you off of that, yeah. That is why they did that to the program. To get you off Facebook.
That's right.
Yeah, that's a secret clearance.
That's right.
Yeah. What God bless no man curse.
That's right. I say so all the time. And
You
thank you for that endorsement. Yes,
yeah.
yes, yes.
Let them continue.
Yes.
You see what happened to them. They like to dig graves for people.
That's right.
But they just forget to close it back.
Yes.
They just forget to close it back. And they're falling in it.
That's right. Rapidly.
I want to tell this nasty man they call Malik something. Rowley tell all you he was supposed to not veteran and all they believe him. He turned around after 64 million last year another report. Turned around and closed it down. Even SPA said at the industrial court, he never advised anybody to close it down. Right? Rowley lied to all you. He told all you that a Pachak is a court and all you believe in it. All you lies, Rowley spewing to all you. And you come in to talk about Kamala is a pattern for the people
to drop the licensing fees and all this kind of thing. All the promises Kamala made when she was Prime Minister going into office, she did it. She did it. Don't come here and tell us that she didn't do anything. Or they have no shame whatsoever. And I know you're going to stink me up on the line, but I don't care. Because everything you tell me, I'm going to tell you to give it back to your mother. I do like Jack Warner here tonight. Give it back to your mother. Because if all you have no respect for anybody, I have none for you. Get off the line. Nobody wants you there. You have no shame. You're like a blasted leech on everybody's chat. Lennox.
Hey.
Imagine another baby died again today.
Wow, wow, wow.
And not a word, not a single, but that Abdul Malik come to talk about Kamala. Kamala didn't kill the babies. It's Rowley made in the queue at abattoir. Rowley and the Alsik turning the neonatal clinic into abattoir. Last year, 19 babies died, Lennox, and it's only this year we getting to find out about it.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah, 19 babies. And if I am not mistaken, I stand to be corrected, but it's between 12 and 15 babies died within the past couple of weeks. And imagine, Lennox, it was two sets of twins. Oh gosh, not even one survived. Those babies died, and you come in to talk crap. But today, on Mikey's program, Dr. C. Sharan, he gave an in-depth, he says somebody brought in that infection. And it's the same thing that went on with COVID. Somebody brought in the infections into the nursing homes and things. Somebody brought it in.
It has to come from somewhere.
And yes. what he is saying, Lennox, is that you cannot have one nurse for 7 babies. You cannot. You have to have at least 2 nurses. But I say 2. He said 1 for each baby because of the type of sickness, because they're preemies. They're preemies. They need special care. But he has 66 million to spend every month for a lobbyist who is doing nothing for the country. You can't even get a dragon gas deal. No, Stuart, you're promising wind energy. We all know he's a bag of fat. That's what we promising them. He's just a bag of fat, that's all he is. They're promising them pie in the sky. Abdul Malik, because Kamala promising to reduce the price, because you know she said it last night with the fees with the licensing office and so. You have bad roads and you charging people so much money. But Rowley promising them gas deal and they fall faith. Stuart Young promising them wind energy and they fall in faith. I tell you, they keep telling them that a Bachak is a goat and they believe in it. Lennox, let me go back to this one again.
Go ahead.
Not a word from the church leaders. Not a single word. Nobody's calling for the Singh removal. When Kamala was in office, everything Rowley bolted to Kamala's chest. But these washing their hands off of everything. And they are thinking have no shame, no stinking shame to talk about don't politicize it. Who the hell politicizing 12 babies dead? Nobody needs to politicize it. Pastor Dutton couldn't put out a press release concerning, but you put out a press release, you put up a post about Rushton Parrott throwing his hat in the ring. That is what is it. But you see, once Rowley followed all of them basket when they pass it, they will turn a blind eye to the wrong things that are going on in this country. And that is why I don't care who vexed when I went after the Mahasabha. And I will go again after them. Because if I could go against my own Catholic Church, who the hell is them? Lennox, let me tell you something, eh? I think it was the 2015 elections.
Yeah.
When Neil Parselal was going up for elections, right?
Mm.
You know, he's, I think he was a layperson in the Catholic Church or something like that.
Uh-huh.
That same Jason Gordon, he was Archbishop yet, said, let us pray for our brother to win this election. I get up and I walk out the church. Don't shut them, oh, sorry, Lennox. Don't use the pulpit as a political platform. All you want to get into politics, drop your gong and put on your red t-shirt. And that is what Archbishop Harris, Archbishop Berkeley of the Anglican Church, Father Javier, and all of them has been doing, using the pulpit as a political platform for the PNM. And if it's wrong for one, it's damn wrong for all. Because Harris knew. Harris had his Easter message, or was it Corpus Christi message in 2015, said that people were leaving the country by droves because of the crime situation. I wonder if he have a list now. He's not talking about all the home invasion because it involved Indian people. Archbishop Berkeley said at his Easter message, hold on, hold tight. A resurrection coming. Is this the resurrection? 12 babies dying under their watch because of carelessness. You spent 50 million to get Kate, SRP Kate, to investigate the UNC. How much money are they spending while? And all they can't do the proper things, but they're not seeing that. You know why? Because he's the same as them. But everything Kamala do was a fault for all of them. Lennox, I waited long enough to vent.
Yes,
Thank you so much.
Yes.
And
Yes,
take
indeed.
care and have a good night.
Thank you very much. You have vented, indeed. You have vented. Of course, that is our external, of course, contributor. She continues so to be. Yes, she speaks her mind, and we don't want a better spokesperson to represent speaking your mind, as so many of you have, of course, grown not just accustomed to, but have in fact emulated, which is, of course, is a requirement in contemporary Trinidad and Tobago to let this Maroonian bunch of opportunistic political parasites, who, of course, have put together an elitist group to try to suffocate and try to undermine and try to deceive us into believing that all is honky-dory. Well, I want to tell them one time, there is none as blind as he or she who would not see. And of course, the hole that you dig for someone or others, you may well wish that you never did it, because when you fall in it, it's going to be a horse of a different color. And oh, what a tangle web we weave when we first set out to deceive. Yes, indeed. And of course, it is also said, not only that there is none as blind as he or she who refuses to see, but there is the saying as well that If you're living in glass house, don't throw stone. And of course, in this case, Rowley and they pretend that they don't have dirty linens and that they could try to deflect attention away from their own iniquities and I wouldn't call it challenges, but of course, a very debilitating and politically destructive to themselves conduct. So that I am not of the type that will subscribe to that people are not seeing and talking. They may prefer to talk in secret. They may prefer to be silent. But what is the yardstick that one can use to determine that the people have had enough of the Rowley administration? We'll get back to that after this call. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Hey, Lennox, pleasant good night again.
Yes.
Well, I see like you do a lot digging up and solve the problem because I ain't getting no glitch again on your video.
Great. Oh gosh, boy.
Because I tell it had to be something on your end where must you have to do a little minor adjustment.
Yes. Thank you very much
Look
for
like
that advice. Yes.
Right. What I want to call and say is this. You remember some time ago, Rowley did say that the people depending on the government to build schools and roads and hospital and stuff, and we had to wean off the government.
Yes, in Lavatil.
Right. But Enbert said sometime in Parliament that he get a lot of people complaining, but they ain't getting no water. And he saved that to get water, that to pay property tax. So how come they telling we have to wean off the government, but if we have to get proper service, we have to pay for it? What we know where I'm at? But anyhow,
Go ahead.
anyhow, before I go, anyhow, Kamala put out a warning. You remember always as we talking about Sri Lanka, and if we ain't careful, we could end up like them. Well, Kamala report a warning on she morning night form, and she asked the question if Trinidad and Tobago going broke. And you know, a couple of weeks or months later, she just come back and say, I tell all it so. Trinidad and Tobago, they were supposed to open the Point Forted fire station today in Point Forted. They didn't open it. After what is I heard, and the UNC Monday Night Forum, and I asked myself, if all these fire stations in them throughout the country missing these equipment, where they were going and get, especially fire truck, where they going and get fire truck to give this grand opening to the Point Forted fire station? And then a thought come to me. I said, I wonder if these people and them go and borrow truck elsewhere to try and make it look good. Lennox, you know today, when them people and them was rocking up because they cancel the opening, then people and them had 2 fire truck where they borrow from Heritage and Atlantic LNG.
Not surprised, but go ahead.
These people, but and up to now they ain't know when they're going and open. But I gotta hear the fire officers and them in the place right now, because they ain't going back in that firehouse up Clifton Hill because that place in a mess. I think they're utilizing it right now. But I say that to say this. Point Forted have been cursed by Eric Williams from day one when the man said if Trinidad and Tobago was a jackass, Point Forted would have been the part of any detail, and they clapped that man. Right now, we in a serious state right now in this place called Point Forted. And they're studying about it. But let us go ahead. Kamala put out the notice, the country going broke. I have a brother working in the corporation. They say right now these days they get paid late. Them didn't used to get paid late. They used to get paid on time. All of a sudden money they get paid late. And that is a sign of things that yet to come. Nocturnal listening, Lennox.
Yes, indeed. And these are real. That is why I have a tremendous amount of difficulty when people are saying that people are not focused on these issues. That is not true. They may be silent on them. They may not wish to be public on them. They may engage in 1 and 2 and 3 and group conversations on them. They may not go to the media or be on social media and Facebook and YouTube and of course Instagram, etc., or indeed the traditional newspapers. No. What indicator or indicators that will cause a person like myself, and I'm sure you and those who are not yet convinced will be convinced at the end of this rationalization, what will cause you to be convinced that that is the case without, of course, people speaking out as one would have liked and one would have appreciated? Less, of course, the people go away with the conclusion that people are not talking about what Rowley and they are doing. Well, I want to tell you this. When you look at the various by-elections, whether the one in Barataria, whether the one in Arima, whether the one in Superior, and the one to come in, of course, Moruga, you will understand that the UNC beat out the PNM. Now the PNM will counter by saying, well, listen, all right, we are in midterm, a term that is used to suggest that the people only dislike them temporarily. But we have to also look at the 2020 general elections as well. Yes. When the UNC gained an additional seat, does that mean that the PNM is being liked? Or is it conversely that they are being downgraded, deteriorated in terms of their likability by the electorate and those who are responsible for them being there, even though they will not like you to accept that as a fact, or they will of course be engaged in what I consider to be a psychosis of a perpetual nature and broad enough to make all of them nincompoops, the entire PNM kabang. Let's go to the lines. Let's go to the lines. A pleasant good night.
Pleasant good night, Mr. Lennox. Oh, how I miss this program.
Yes, yes,
and
yes.
pleasant good night to the viewers. Mr. Lennox, first thing first, how are you going?
Well, of course, as good as could be. They're trying, of course, to try to stymie and try to curtail and try to frustrate me, but I'm not going to relent. I'm not going to be frustrated. And with people like you, are even more motivated to make sure that these
Well
programs
said.
come every night. Yes.
Highly appreciated. Well, I want to get down to business.
Go ahead, man.
First thing first. I want to put this government on notice, right? Because
Yes.
they're telling us they has no money. The country break down. But every little thing, only looking for commissioner inquiries to give state brief to these lawyers and them to get these kickback. We want no inquiries on nothing. We don't want that at all, because all they're using that to do is to feed themselves and their friends, their immediate friends. The second thing I want to say, anybody who out there have doubts about the UNC, right now we are weeding out all the backbiters on the head table. So when we weed them out and they go to, because we're doing screening. So when we screen them, they know they're not going back up there. So they're coming out in front and trying to make it look like people fighting them. And when they didn't get picked, they come out and say they didn't get picked because they speak. But we know who they are and we weeding them out completely. So do not let all your hearts be troubled. We fixing the thing very good. So when we get into office, everything would be okay. So everybody who getting doubts about coming over and the same bacchanal and problem, it has no bacchanal in the UNC. All we doing, we are weeding out the backbiters from on the head table. And we weeding them out now. We're not waiting till later down to weed them out. So Mr. Lennox, I enjoying and now getting, I don't know what was the topic, but I now see that it back on and I am so excited what's the call. So I make 2 points one time. You have a blessed one and continue to do the people's work.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I want to say that caller made 2 salient and significant points. I just want to add that there are those who are exiting on their own volition as well. When they come out and talk and say that this is wrong and that is the other, and having, of course, benefited handsomely by either being appointed one way or another and having served after many years without complaint, you're suddenly complaining because you know an election is at hand and that election, of course, is as good as counting monies that you have in the bank. But we must not be overconfident. I make it a point. Do not be overconfident because the PNM propaganda will not relent, and they would say that you don't have to go out and vote because the UNC have it in the bag already. That is the kind of propaganda they will turn on us. You see, when their stocks are low and they are sinking as they are now, they revert to all kind of what I consider to be poor, despicable, reckless, brutal, and reprehensible reverse psychology. Reverse psychology, poor, and we must not fall victim. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Lennox, a pleasant good night to you again.
Yes.
I know that you are not reading the chats, so I will read it and I will relay it.
Good.
Right? Abdul Malik, I want you to put him in the place again. Say that you have no shame. You're boasting that UNC went from 18 seats to 19 seats in 2020. But she lost, she had 29 in 2010 and she went down to 15 or something so. But what you see the crayfish posse failed to realize is that there was a coalition. But you know, the head of the crayfish posse, not talking about who ain't have no shame, ain't talking but Rowley lose a seat in 2020. He not talking about how many corporations and seats, 43,000 votes he lost in the last local government election just a couple of months ago. No, he not talking about that. He gone back to 2015 where Kamala lose. No, we want to talk about now. Talk about she winning the Sandy Grande Corporation. Talk about she getting all the men in Arima and in Sour Lavender Regional Corporation and in San Fernando. Talk about that. Talk about she only contested 110 districts and got more votes than the PNM. Talk about that, Abdul. You can't talk about that. No, you could come here to cuss Lennox and talk about Lennox and have no shame. But you really have no shame. That juice box and that phone card they give you, making you look like a fool here tonight. And we're going to make you look like a fool here tonight. Kamala won more than Rowley. But because of the thief and EBC, Lennox put up the map. Put up the map for the last local government election. Show it to Abdul Malik. All will Rowley lose. Rowley has lost all the by-elections. Kamala And I like what that last caller said, right? We have to let them know Kamala keeps eroding Rowley's support, and she's going to do so until she gets back in office in 2025. Or they can call her how much names, sticks and stones. But she has a vision, something Rowley never had. All Rowley's vision was to fill his pocket and that of his friends, his family, and his financiers. Because from the minute he went in there, that is what they started doing. Talk about the 800 plus recusals that made Stuart Young brother a billionaire. Talk about him making Faris and Imbert and all them billionaire real estate agents. And then all they have no shame to come and talk about who in had no shame. But let me tell you something, you come on the wrong life here tonight. Because we're pushing back on you. Lennox, have a good night again.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Of course, that map is up, so reality can strike. Of course, we try our best to, of course, accommodate the very frugal and the very, of course, sagacious and the very, what I consider to be intellectually sound, eruditic individuals, or who, of course, call in there those who would stay in the armchair and sip probably a glass of water and become an activist from being silent. Well, I suppose it is made up of all and sundry, nothing wrong with that, but to attempt to be an analyst with a bias will not suffice, as I said this morning on the ground report. And it will not suffice here on the corridor in particular with Lennox Smith at the helm. What did he say some 24, 27 seats before? Well, I can go right back to say that the NR had 33, 3, and the NR, of course, today is, of course, one for the history books. But what we know for a fact is that the UNC never relented and never gave up and was always in the forefront and contending, of course, for government in this country. And when they got the opportunity, they performed extremely better than that of the PNM, whether it's under Manning or under this marauding bunch of opportunistic political parasites. Let's go straight to the lines. A pleasant good night. A pleasant good night.
Yeah, Lennox, a pleasant good night again.
Yes.
I just want to call and add in something there from your last caller.
Yes, go ahead.
If it's something that I noticed for the past 4 years, I've seen a change in terms of the mindset of the people. And I want to say this. I, that person that does normally do my live on Facebook ever so often. And I remember from 2020 go back, it had people used to be coming on my live and talking as that shipping and saying that the UNC pay me and this and that for me to be talking. So I look at next done African talking and this and that. And I noticed just recently when I started to do my live and all them set of things what people used to be saying against me. You know, all of that stuff. Even when I post something on Facebook, all of them who used to be commenting negatively, all of that stuff, you know. So I get to realize it's just time. Time will reveal everything because all the time they defending undefendable. It reach home by them wherever we was talking about for the past so much years and I need Rowley, half right or 3/4 it's they reach home by them. So right now they have nothing to say. Right now they're just bowing in shame. But all of them who supporting the PNM too, there's a bunch of cowards because they can't talk and talk against the PNM. And that is what they don't like about me. I tell them, me no damn coward. Coward belong in the Western movies. I understand I living in the reality. You're voting you're obligated to talk about the issues that are affecting in your country. If you don't vote, then you have to stay quiet. So I just tell them the policies that Kamala had in place from 2010 to 2015 benefit a lot of people in Trinidad and Tobago. Kate Rowley come like the opposite. He reversed everything that this first female prime minister Kamala Prasad put in place. And people had the tendency and say, oh, she helped she people. She didn't help she people alone, she helped everybody who needed help in Trinidad and Tobago. And that is why Kid Rowley can't step in that woman's shoes. And I will say this before I go. I just tell people, me are no subjects. I doesn't shame to tell people that. But I say, but if I had to go back to school and do any subject, I want Kamala Prasad to be my teacher. Because this woman have a trade loan and wealth to share. Because you see it in her policy by building all this amount of school in her 5 years. That is the only that will get me to go back to school to learn something. She had to be my teacher. Dr. Smith.
Yes, yes, indeed. And the argument for nostalgia, for going backwards, you know, in itself is flawed. And the introducer to that cannot be aggravated in any way or be annoyed with anyone to ask him or her, it may be a combination of both, so him or her, to ask him, what was the number of seats that the PNM held before the 1986 general elections when they were wiped out 33-3. You mustn't open up no can of worms if you do not have the stamina and the ability to, of course, respond appropriately and maintain your position. If that is your position, that Kamala and they moved from 27, what number did the PNM move from? Because you're going backwards. And then what number did the PNM move from when they were decimated and almost wiped out in 1986 of 33, 3 seats for them? But more so, since you're so damn stupid and want to, of course, enter where angels fear. Let me repeat. People like that enter where angels fear. You see, he must also say how much seats the PNM had in Tobago that they were wiped out. 14 what? 14-1. Take that in a pipe and smoke it. You can't argue foolishly, my friend. I would advise. A pleasant good night.
Yes, Lennox. Good night once again.
Yes, good night.
It have a pretty one there was next to the map, one of them PNM. I know she name. She talk in the parliament today. She have a part in the center she had, and she have a kind of voice.
She very annoying and of course an upstart, and she
look she there, look she there right now.
Yeah, she looks like a simpleton, frankly.
This woman, Lennox, that woman called one bacchanal in the parliament today. Tell the speaker, the deputy speaker, had to shut down the parliament for 15 minutes. The woman using heavy word in the parliament. She carrying news on naked now about what he say about the past president, right?
Yes.
And you're carrying news, but you want to use a heavy word. Say, and I quote, say that, but you use the heavy word, which is the word with A and then S at the end, right? Say that, but you know how let us pick up for them. I don't know what take place after, because I was watching some outside news.
I see.
So I don't know what they do with she after that. But I find he should have sent she out instead of shutting down the parliament. This woman is a bacchanalist, you know. That next one there, you see that Gopi school? She's the big snake in the in the regime, in the PNM. That woman, you don't hear about she much, but that is the danger. I will tell all you something too. People are noticing it have some shortages with certain products. One I would mention, ladies sanitary napkins, stay free, wings. You ain't getting that, so you know. It go in other place. They're seeing about other people. You hear what I'm telling you? People must notice these shortages that it have. You have to buy other products to get the wings. Right, carry come heads as well. She will be an obstruction to them. If she had to carry on with that corruption that this one doing, everything go for them and them hungry about carry come going to suffer. And they want that because they're eating the life out of we. Yeah. So it's from all day. Yeah, Kamala had to watch. All of them walking she soul. This government here, this regime, they are no shame, you know. All they will see what coming is real fire. And I'm predicting that in time to come, you see that separation they have there with the flea biting them. I'm talking about the Datham Saba. I can't pronounce it because I wasn't in the christening, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yes.
You see that separation? It have enough time for that next set to form a party. And it's there the votes will split. It's real bacchanal going and take place. And I foreseeing that. I will say no more. I'm listening to you, Lennox.
Thank you very much, of course. But I have I'm at variance. I have a diametrically opposing view on the whole question of split of votes. You see, where these central, they can only, of course, focus on the heartland of the UNC that we like to call. And no way a split vote could mean victory for the PNM. Let's not waste time with that. You're talking about close to the full amount of constituents' votes in these constituencies. So no way. So that goes without saying. But let me just take this call. A pleasant good night. Welcome.
Pleasant good night, Mr. Lennox again.
Yes,
first thing first, the people who speaking online, before God destroy our people, he just first send them mad. They're going mad. They have nothing to run on. They have nothing to talk about. They have no 106 schools that they build. They have no children's hospital that they build. They had no box drain all over this country that they build. They have no 75% of water in the dry season. They have nothing to run on. So these people who on the line, we ignore them. I want to tell you that the president of Guyana get the African Global Award from Africa. That's the president of Guyana. Our prime minister, our so-called prime minister, come the other day and add a name to a holiday where we already know what the holiday stands for. And when he go on the platform, he telling people, hush them out and all. Right? But I want to tell him, anytime he call the election, we will give him a ticket not to come back. That's all I have to say, Mr. Lennox.
Yes, indeed. And, you know, a person like the last caller certainly is one that nestles his arguments in practicality and proper analysis. That is why I thought it was important to let you know that it is wrong to talk about seeing the glass half empty when in fact it is half full. And if you based your argument, the praxis of your arguments along that line, you will always be close to, if not totally correct. So just as how the caller was concerned about a fella who said that 27 and was reduced, I could simply say that the PNM and ask the question in 1986 how much the PNM was before they were reduced to three seats. 3 seats, people. So don't go there. You will be wasting precious, what I consider to be corridor transformation time. But we need to edify, lest we allow these clearly nincompoopish, irrelevant, ocious, and clearly non-rational and rationalized argument to take root. We must root them out as we did today on the ground report. Notice no one can tell us who they prefer, and don't matter whether you use circumlocution, meaning that like round the mulberry bush, or you use oblique arguments in order to get your message across, or you use one that is all encompassing, like of course Rodney Charles when he said that both Rowley and Kamala are too old, in an argument that says that there are young people ruling and taking over countries by virtue of leaders, prime minister, president, etc. And we had to show him today that it is not so. There are more people 60 and over that are presidents and the prime ministers across the world, across the globe, and in particular, of course, in the Caribbean, than those that are below 50 years of age. So what is your argument? You spread the argument in such a way so as to reinforce what others didn't want to say. And that is for Kamala to go. And whilst others were saying that they don't want her to go, but they want to call, they want elections to be called when it is not yet due, tells a story in itself. And for big men, they are so fascinatingly short-sighted, and their arguments are so myopic that it is unfathomable anybody with a modicum of common sense and thinking and focus could mash up those arguments. I press a good night. I press a good night.
Yes, Lennox, let's
Yes.
talk something here.
Go ahead.
Forget Rodney Giles and his stupidness there.
No,
About
no,
old
I
and
just making
old
a
and
reference.
old.
Yes.
Forget, let's talk about old and old, right?
Yes.
What I'm saying is, suppose they split and they have another party. They go aside and they form a party. That thing gonna mash up the thing, boy? Talk to me.
It has happened already. Remember when Ramesh Maraj, his team Unity, remember that? But it will only treat with the base. And the base is firmly, no matter what Ramesh did, he couldn't get a seat. But all the seats that he targeted in the base constituencies soundly remained in the hands of the what we call today the UNC. Then it was the ULF or something like that. That's the point I'm making. So why is the numbers? They may get some numbers, yes, but it is not sufficient numerically to reduce the electoral fortunes of the UNC. That's the point I'm making. All right?
Okay.
Good.
But watch the map again with the
Go ahead.
PNM. Watch the map again with the north there.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
And when that happens, it will humbug the southern part of the country. I'm talking about popular vote. Never mind, it don't count, but as you know, to put a party in power, but It go split up things, and then it go have a tough time to deal with them people in the north.
I'm glad
You
that
understand?
Yeah, but again, the PNM understands numerical value because they have been for some time a minority government from the perspective that they have not been able to gain the popular votes. We saw that in the last 2020 elections. We saw that again repeated in the local government elections just recent. So on the one hand, there is value in the numerical difference. You see, that is why focus and emphasis is usually placed on what? On the marginal seats, because if you win by 1, you win that constituency. But when you're winning by 3 and 4,000, and somebody come and pick up 200, I mean, it is minuscule. But it is the marginal seats that are critical. PNM understands that, the UNC understands that. But I want to say categorically that non-marginal seats, like occurred in 1986, will go to the UNC and whatever configuration that they end up going into the 2025 elections with. That is what the UNC is facing, and that will be the tragedy of the PNM, and therefore the demise, because anytime that occurs, the PNM will not be as fortunate as they were able to, and as they did rebound by 1991 in the following elections, after, of course, a sound cuttass in 1986. Because no way they could get back Tobago. So let's say that gone. Where are they going?
I was about to say that.
Yes.
I was about to tell you,
No
watching
way.
them Tobagonians.
That's
That
right.
is our
No way.
next part.
No way. No way.
And
No way.
listen,
No way they can get
Lennox,
to me. Yeah.
you're talking about the past, but this is a different wrongs, you know, Lennox.
Well, when we were talking about the whitewash for the PNM, in other words, the PDP would cut the tail going and coming. People were saying the same thing as you are saying now, my dear. They were saying we're talking about the past. And we're talking about a different PNM and all kind of hogwash. What it turned out to be, 14 what? Repeat it for them. 14 what? 14 what? 14-1. If you have difficulty in calling the 1. It was supposed to be 14 none. Sorry, I mean 15
I was listening.
none.
I was listening to you. Otherwise, the thing moving kind of slow. Yeah, that is with Tobago 14-1. But we ain't talking Tobago. You was talking about 1986.
No,
you see?
No, I was making comparisons as to the need to understand the arithmetic. And I was telling you, PNM understands the arithmetic. That is why that red up there, even though it is minuscule, small, but represents a victory because of historical gerrymandering
Right,
and focus.
right.
Yeah. So that's why. So that's what I'm
This
saying.
is the crucial part, you know, Lennox.
Well, yeah.
That
so
is the crucial part.
Yeah, but you started the argument about another party in the heartland.
No, I'm not
of the
arguing.
UNC.
I just watching that.
Yeah.
You know, we talking, we discussing. I ain't arguing.
Of course.
I'm worried about that part because the way the thing going,
Don't be perturbed. Don't be perturbed for one moment. That is almost an impossibility. Nobody could be the. Yeah, thank you very much. Nobody could beat the UNC in the heartland. So let's not waste time with that. What we need to focus on is those red dots that you're seeing on the map. Pleasant good night, welcome. Pleasant good night, welcome.
Good night, Mr. Lennox,
good night
and welcome back to the land of social media.
Yes.
To carry the news, the good word.
Yes.
Mr. Lennox, now on the topic of the gerrymandering or the boundary, I like that talk you bring up there.
Yes.
Because we will see when Irvin Augustus Manning, with the election, they had tried that same narrative to push the boundaries. And he almost get licks in San Fernando East. So you see from Diego Martin come up, they start pushing everything go forward so that they will put the stronghold and the polling division to lap over. But it will not work in their favor because the EBC, we see where in Lengua, they try all how to keep the elections. And the two elections, man, a Rowley fight, it was unfair. And the EBC had a great role to play with it. So they will come with this narrative that the PNM this and the PNM is in front. But is that they control the regulators and them, but the people, the actual voters. We know, look at this in San Fernando West, right? They had built a set of houses to push, and they've named the ballot box now to lap over. And it's, anyhow you take it, it will work against the PNM. Because the PNM tell themselves that if you move the 2 seats from Monrepo and they push it into Pointe-a-Pierre, right? How much, what is the popularity? And then you move Caxton Bay to push it into Astonia in Cuba, right? Now, anyhow you take it, is to give those people in Astonia Park in Cuba the stronghold, the upper hand. But when you're talking about splitting votes and political entities, you just refer them to the counselor, our lawyer, Vashish Maharaj, which I used to talk about 1952 and 1952, and I was lambasting, and because of airtime, that all political party, right, you will see the history that they come up with their little party groups to say, if I don't get out of vote, look at it. The sugar workers had waited 9 years. The hijack Ms. Kamla Prasad Bisesa, the people in media play and not voting, and what they suffer, who suffer. So they get to realize the only true entity since 1956 of the PNM, no matter what you do, you could jump high, you could limbo low. You could go down as low as you want. The United National Congress track record is for the people, and people now are waking up more than ever under this PNM, because we know it had the Spanish community that they registered temporary, then it had the single market and economy where the movement of free Caribbean people, they are further in and registering them. This is what we're supposed to be accounting, asking now about the EBC, and our esteemed leader is pushing that narrative. So if one is listening and keeping abreast about politics, you'll understand where we are fighting the PNM. It's not by the ballot, but in the EBC office. So, Mr. Lennox, the people will spoke and they are united. Just as the love movement and the people of Lavantil are waking up. So, keep the good fight. Good night. Until again.
Yes, indeed. And that is progressive thinking. You cannot go forward with your handbrakes up and in analytical terms, you cannot see the promised land and believe that you will never get there, and as a consequence, you pull up your handbrakes and you will not go forward. It's like the story with the gentleman who was so mortified that the axe was hanging over a doorway. And because he was fearful that the axe may fall when he is passing, never crossed, even though, of course, inside of there would have provided some benefits, some tremendous benefits, including, of course, some victuals, some food for him. And he keeps saying, afraid that axe fall on my head, so I wouldn't cross, I wouldn't cross, I wouldn't cross. No. No. What you do, you have a mission and a purpose. You then, of course, find a plan to execute. And where there is need for revision and adjustments, you do that and move forward. The EBC will find it extremely difficult on this occasion. Why? Because they have done the same thing over and over for so long that just like the PNM, nobody believes them. Nobody see them as sincere. In spite of their public orations and utterances and attempts, of course, to sanitize themselves. The PNM can't sanitize itself, you know. Don't matter what Rowley say, it's seen as hogwash, you know. He has to literally take it from where it is and maybe put it up in the sky where everybody can see. And even in those circumstances, once you can't touch it, you're saying it's an illusion, a delusion, a deception, and an evil concoction. And of course, another dissembling agenda, purpose, conduct of Rowley and they, you know. Nothing is, you ain't see the journalists and them laughing at him. Rowley has become a consummate laughing stock. The PNM itself is now both a kleptocratic organization, meaning that a bunch of thieves, stroke or dash, a idiocracy, a bunch of idiots. You ever say? I say that the PNM is now seen and has now been brought to a kleptocracy stroke, idiocracy, meaning that they are seen as a bunch of thieves and, of course, a bunch of idiots at the same time, simultaneously. That is not an easy place to be. And on top of all of that, they have the uncanny reputation, the appalling reputation of being stricken, with myth or mythophania. They are spontaneous liars. Mythomania. Spontaneous liars. How you getting away from that? Rowley knows that, you know. And those persons who are bawling and ranting and raving as a total and absolute lunatics in the parliament, looking for every port for a storm to get some kind of advantage, and we will not give them any. They are frustrated like hell. Good night. Welcome.
Hey Lennox, pleasant good night again.
Yes.
Lennox, I paying attention to the map you have on the screen there, right? I want to educate me on something.
Go ahead.
The two dots are seen in the lower half of Trinity Bigo map, which is San Fernando 1.40, right?
Yeah. Labre.
Oh, it's Labre.
Yeah, and point 14. Yeah.
Right. But what I want to find out, right? Up in the north, like in Lavante, your area, Lavante East and Lavante West, and Diego Martin East and Diego Martin West. How come they have Labre East and Labre West and point 40 East and point 40 West? Why is that?
Because the way how the system operates is that you must have at least 20,000 persons in a constituency thereabout. There's a specific number, and if it goes over that, for a substantive way, and adjacent constituencies have a similar, what they do, they bring the extras together and make a new constituency.
Oh.
Yeah, that's what happens there. So that is what happened with Diego Martin East, West, and Central. Diego Martin Central, where we went, of course, in on top of the hill there for the first ground report community microphone, came as a consequence of that kind of arrangement. And Diego Martin Central evolved from, of course, taking parts from West and East and other constituencies, including, of course, Port of Spain South as well, and St. Anne's North, what is now St. Anne's North Port of Spain North, St. Anne's West. Yeah, all of that.
So what, Sean? So in order for the PNM to get them numbers and we're calling it, that is why they be pushing us at HGC projects, building houses to try to get the numbers.
Yeah, you see they put St. Joseph will be targeted because it is a marginal seat. Tunapuna quasi-marginal, even though they have a history of PNM orientation, but they have been beaten there on several occasions, the PNM that is. So you find that along the east-west corridor. Of course, you're going to see a lot of emphasis on even Sangre Grande this time around. You're going to see that as well, where they're going to be putting some programs there. And when they decided to dig wells in Moruga, and then dig wells, of course, in Tobago East, it was as a result of that same attempt to shift the numerical difference or ratio in their favor, because those are considered to be marginal seats or seats that they would want to win in order to stay at least at 21. Because the PNM don't mind getting 21 seats and get on as if they get a landslide. Because with 22 seats and they get on if they have a landslide, you could imagine. So they are not concerned once they get into power, and that we must deny them of.
So Lennox, basically what you're saying there, over all these years where election is concerned, PNM never win an election fair and square. Because they're using that to gerrymander the seats on them.
Yeah.
Based on what you're telling me here.
And the argument is that the highest concentration of population is along the east, at least up to that point on the east-west corridor. You see, so that is why they were able to get, as I say, use the formula that we just described to get about a third of the seats in the country or in the electoral process comes from and is along the east-west corridor.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, here what's going on here. The future going to have a different turn where that is concerned, because your partner was shit. You realize how he showed us be going on, right?
Yes.
Right, and then it have our next program what is be on Iowa George Station, like TC and Heavy. I think they said them program is the #1 in the evening.
Right.
So people right now getting to see the truth about the PNM.
Yeah.
But I like what Heavy and understand. I like what Heavy and understand the PNM supporters what is called on the program. Don't come and talk about them, see, and they say, go and get your evidence and come. Locked on and listening.
And of course, and of course, all of that, the genesis of all of that, boldness, frankness, and reality, confirmation, disposition, came from, of course, the ground report and the fact that we blazed the trail for them to follow. And I want to tell the caller as well, who of course is talking about somehow we are disingenuous by not recognizing the reduction of the UNC. But of course, we reverse it on him by telling him, how could you not have seen the reduction of the PNM in the 1986 elections and elections subsequently outcome? But because I say the PNM was reduced by 1 in 2020, he makes a big, heavy balloon and of course make reference to a nostalgic position that in itself is an asinine argument when one considers what transpired in 1986 and what the PNM went into that elections with and came out with. So let's not waste time, because all of them have seen it. And I want to say there's another category of persons that have seen it as well, because remember, when we started out, we were saying that it was dishonest of people like Helen Drayton, like Ventor, former justice, like Roger, yes, people like, of course, Selwyn Kojo, We were saying that all the time. We were saying as well, a man of the cloth, Father Harvey. Well, he was the first one to run out when he realized what the PNM really is and go and settle in Grenada. He having some problems there right now as well. But remember, he was the one that performed what I consider a bogus exorcism around the parliament at the time when it was on Rice Road. Don't forget that. Don't forget what Roger did. Don't forget what Helen Drayton, an independent senator who calling for elections, did. Don't forget what Ventor did when, of course, he resigned from the Integrity Commission, when the Integrity Commission said that those emails were bogus, and therefore Ventor said he resigned in order for them to consider the contents of those pieces of paper that never was and could not have existed. But today, all of them have reversed their tongue, not only those radio program presenters, but the ground report remained consistent up to today in the form of the corridor transformation as well. A pleasant good night.
Lennox, a
Yes.
pleasant good night again. One
Yes.
for the road.
Yes, go
One
ahead.
for the road. You know, these PNM crayfish and them
Yes.
feel that because nobody in the PNM is before the courts, that they are innocent. But let me give you one for the road.
Go ahead.
Right? I want to ask them, why does the DPP refuse? Now, first to begin, before I go there, let us make it very clear. PNMites do not charge PNMites. And they are of the impression, because they are not before the courts, they are innocent. But let me give them some history. Rowley and the $8 million material from the Scarborough Hospital. Why the DPP up to now has not charged him? Why it is that the DPP has not charged Rowley for lying on his integrity form, commission form? Why? Why is it that the DPP has not charged Camille Robinson Regis for lying to the bank about her source of income? Then we have Foster coming and the questionable $14 million venture capital and alleged land grabbing issues. What about Darrell Smith's sexual harassment? That $150,000 of my tax money was paid to cover that up. Rowley hide it, and Rowley sent him, give him a big job and send him away. Why? And the report said that he sexually harassed the woman. We have so many issues. And the biggest one of all is Farris witness tampering. Why has not the DPP has not touched Farris as yet? When Vincent Nelson said that they paid him to lie on Annan Ram Logan and Gerald Ramsey. So they are of the impression, and let us not forget the liar, the perjurer, Attorney General. But they are of the impression that because they are not before the courts, that they are innocent. But think again. Think again. Remember, Rowley paid SRP Kate $50 million to go after UNC people. So when all they want to come here and wash all your mouth on the chat about who before the courts and who not before the courts, think again. Lennox, I'll leave them with something to think about. Thanks a lot and have a good night.
Yes, indeed. But I want to go further, having regard to the fact that we have limited time. I want to go further because the question is, why aren't those persons who you correctly, of course, made mention of are not before the courts? But there is one common denominator. They regurgitate what Rowley would have said, the fact that Rowley and the PNM is in government. That is why. That's the only reason why. And
PNMites don't charge PNMites, Lennox.
Yeah. Well, that's the point I'm making, because the PNM is in government. That is why that has happened.
Yeah.
But
That is why that happened.
But I want to burst the person's bubble. I want them to understand you must now reconcile, because it was a big fish, it was a big thing, why it is that the DPP had to withdraw Anand Ramlogan and Ramdeen's cases.
Right.
Don't they talk? Let us not waste time with people like these, man. They have no
No,
logic.
but don't
and they
Lennox, you
cannot
just
apply
have to
common sense.
remind them.
Of course,
You just
of
have
course.
to remind them.
No, I am
Because they
not
have
saying-
short-term memory.
All right, listen. I'm not saying waste time in the sense that we must not
I know,
tell
I know,
them.
I understand what you mean.
And you
And-
said as
and
a
here
figure
now.
of speech. As a figure of speech.
Here now,
I'm
let
saying
me
they
ask
are a waste
again.
of time. Yeah. Go
Let
ahead.
me ask again. Let me
Go
ask
ahead.
again. Who hiding all the SSA equipment in Valsane? Who hiding it?
All that is jail.
And I'll leave it there for the night.
That's right. And the recusals and them, all of that is jail. It's just a matter of time. Why you think, and the final nail on this coffin, or should I say, the final a bit of information and the final maybe fire that they would like to light, because it is a conflagration ultimately of course, criminal behavior. The entire cabinet. If PNM was not in office, if the UNC, when the UNC comes in office, I bet you, like the fella who was the spokesperson for Saddam Hussein, when he was saying that the Americans were being repelled at the gates of Baghdad, and next thing the reporter saw him on a pickup truck flying out of Baghdad. Flying out of Baghdad because the Americans had reached not just the gates, but had taken over the country called Iraq. I make that comparison to let him know that the time will come when the most rookie of investigators, because Rowley and they have been so blatant, have been so ostentatious with their thieving and their abuse of office and their disregard for the public's purse and their responsibility as public officers through the electoral process, that it will be very easy, the evidence will be very easy, and they cannot hide. The world has become extremely small, and the hole that they dig for others, they will eventually fall in that prison. And as I say with respect to Rowley, he must be placed in a prison for the criminally insane. The man is totally mad. How the hell you could tell me that is standard practice, that over 100 times members of your cabinet can recuse themselves, and you see nothing wrong with that, and you yourself, of course, engage in that kind of dastard, inhumane, and immoral and unethical behavior, contrary to standards that we voted you into. And worse yet, when you was in opposition, you were talking moral high ground that people were orchestrating to steal from the national treasury and from the poor and the downtrodden. All of those talk, he was talking. And that a government, if it cannot solve the problems of the country, is part of the problems and must be looking expeditiously to get out of office. He decides to remain there, as we saw, of course, with his hypocritic and contradictory conduct, different to his original statements about what? Yes, about property tax, about subsidies, about the utilities, and doing more with less, suggesting that our quality of life and standard of living would be better after the 2015 elections. And it turns out to be a hellfire, a conflagration of unprecedented and unacceptable and unexpected levels. People, have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless. We will see you, of course, tomorrow morning on the Ground Report, Andy, Mikey, and myself. And tomorrow night, I assure you, The glitches seem to have been ironed out, and we'll be back with even more fervor, a more incisive evaluation. And I look forward to all of the arguments, whether rational, irrational. Our job is to do what? To put you on the right path and to disabuse the PNM political propaganda machinery that has gone so deep now, it has run out of fuel and therefore cannot sustain itself as we inexorably move towards 2025 inevitable elections, which Rowley will wish to postpone because he knows that they are sitting, the entire cabinet and the PNM edifice are talking about the monstrosity inclusive of that physical monster called Balize House. All of them must be investigated. Must be investigated through the criminal and civil authorities in Trinidad and Tobago. Blue lights, in other words, and silver bracelet awaits them. And they know that. All the grandstanding and old talk. And of course, as the Romans will say, who the gods wish to destroy, they first send them mad. Well, they have gone puerile. They have gone infantile. And they have been exhibiting not just asinine, not just asshole, but whole ass talk. Whole ass talk, people. That's what they are engaged in. The Alsing told us that they have a track record of infant mortality equal to what is internationally recognized and accepted. And today, we see that like his utterances with respect to COVID and their conduct turn out to be another disaster. And therefore, you could easily conclude that the PNM is a murderous group of individuals. Murderous. And everywhere they have gone, they have demonstrated a ghoul, G-H-O-U-L. They have become collectively and individually body snatchers and grave molesters. That is what the PNM has morphed into. Have a wonderful rest of the night. God bless, and see you tomorrow night. And don't forget, of course, tomorrow morning, the On the Ground report. Let's go and make a mockery of them as we continue to laugh and lampoon them. Yes, indeed. They should be what? In the political what? Cemetery. Yes, they should be in the political cemetery.
Some of them dead, just shame to lie down. So I prepare for them a burial ground. Rowley, my first grave for he. With joy in my heart, put him down with glee. All of them useless politician, only making up numbers in my island. Al-Rari, I refuse body. I leave them Muslim, them to deal with he. Big smile on my face and with maybe a hand. It's time to move trash from out of this land. Sardonic grin on his face. That's all he does do. That man is a waste. Bury in the back of my cemetery. Turn he upside down. He face I can see. Look for the strongest grave digger to cover he. Not with the hand, put good fork on he. Gypsy, political grasshopper. I may feel little pity cause he's my brother. But like Tarzan, he's swinging from vine to vine. It's time I help you to make up your mind. Fitzgerald. I know they go glad to get the body. Resi on beat and don't fall to see. Drink 2 beers and watch Coco get happy. I not ready to bury. She is a strong, determined woman like me and deserve a chance to run this country. When she in power, I don't go hungry. And Calypsonian does get big money. She don't deserve no spot in my cemetery. I putting she in the center of the city. Paula, you too damn lazy. You sit on a throne while women die daily. You deserve a nice spot in my cemetery. All you do is just collect big salary. Regis, you disappoint me with your racial tongue. You like you can see. Your baba does trim you with weed waka. All day, all you do is Sushila. Finally, boy, you is a boss. I celebrate with you when